Fred, I have a response for you, buddy. Do you not remember some of the players that the Ottawa Senators have played lately? Do you not recall who the Buffalo Sabres played when they were tanking for Connor McDavid? I think, and this could just be my opinion, but I think Tim Heed very well could have been a first pairing guy for either one of those two teams.
I thank you very much.
Hey, what's up, guys? Tukey here, back again with another episode of my San Jose Sharks franchise mode series right here on NHL 20. Season 1 went very well for the Sharks. We did very, very well, which means we will probably get crushed here in the postseason as we take on the defending Stanley Cup champions. Yes, that kills me to say, the St. Louis Blues in round 1. Before we get to that, though, aside from Fred's comment, I did want to get to another comment or two. J. Townsend. Yes, player types do matter and factor in. We'll take a look at the lines. Of course, you pretty much know the team that we're rolling with heading into the playoffs. But not only is it the line fits that factor into a player's chemistry, it's also the player types. So, as it kind of used to be with older games, you know, grinders work very well together. Two-ways work well with... Two-ways are just kind of the universal. They work well with everybody. Playmaker, sniper, power forward. Playmaker, sniper, two-way. You know, kind of different combinations work well with one another. So, yes, in fact, the player types do, you know, influence what the rating is there. And, again, to respond to the comments of, hey, it feels like cheesing it, again, I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to keep doing it. And I will say this, again, as to the reason why. I can change Kevin Labanc's player type all I want. He is not going to fit in well on this team long-term with this coach. We already looked at it. There's not a single line where he fits in well. So that's going to be the type of player who we potentially look at trading if we don't want to fire our coach, because no matter what, we're never really going to be able to get a good chemistry boost with him. There is nowhere on this team where Kevin Labanc's going to do well. So that is where trading will factor in, other than being like, well, Patrick Marleau's stuck at this. I mean, okay, he's not a great example because he would have worked. Who did we change player types for? There's a good example elsewhere. I don't know who it was. Barclay Goodrow was actually a pretty damn good example, where, again, chemistry-wise, it would have been a bit meh if we couldn't change him to a grinder. So, yeah, I'm keeping it. I'm sorry. I'm keeping it. Brady Hammond, as far as the Hut series this year, I don't know. I planned on it. I have a thumbnail done for the series if I want to do it, but I'm still not that big of a fan of the gameplay. And ultimately, there would probably be a lot of frustration. And while I don't mind getting ridiculed on the internet, if I know a series is going to be a lot of frustration, I can already see the comments now of like, oh, you get too angry. And it's like, well, no shit. Welcome to the Tugi 24 experience where I don't like to lose at anything, let alone video games. So, I don't know. I'm torn. I really am. God knows I could sit here and already put together a highlight reel of things I don't like about this game from a gameplay perspective, but yeah, it just doesn't work. So, yeah. Anyway, aside from that, I think for the most part, the comments were, again, mostly discussion about, you know, whether or not the player type thing was cheesy. In terms of, someone mentioned too, Kevin Labanc not really being power forward, like, he can run as a power forward. But changing him to a two-way or a playmaker or a sniper isn't going to work. I tried that off camera when I was initially setting up this team. So that's why I pointed out Kevin Labanc as being the guy who probably would have to be traded, which sucks, or we fire our coach. It's one or the other, which we do have a really good coach, but obviously, you know, we're going to have a lot of turnover with this roster anyway. Thornton's up there, Marleau's up there. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this team moving forward and whether or not we choose to keep Doan as our head coach. Again, our Peter DeBoer-esque guy. But from a special teams perspective, you know, the PK is, you know, it's not great. And again, actually, wow, they fixed that, I think. But again, the PK, but everything else is pretty damn good. So it'll be interesting to see what changes there. Aside from that, I think we're good to go. Let's get down to business, shall we? Let's see what we're up against. The St. Louis Blues, we shall see how their roster has changed, if at all, over the course of this first season. This is what we are dealing with. And aside From the addition of Nick Cousins, it's pretty much what you would expect. David Perron, Ryan O'Reilly, and Jaden Schwartz, Vladimir Tarasenko, Braden Shen, and Alex Steen, Bozak, Thomas, and Sundqvist, Barbashev, Cousins, and Sammy Blais. It's a well-rounded team. And defensively, no real changes aside from the addition of Joakim Ryan, who should be out in Los Angeles. I guess he ended up here, though. Vince Dunn and Robert Bortuzzo. I mean, Colton Parayko shouldn't be second pairing compared to Bortuzzo. I think they're cheesing the system. I'm just giving you a hard time. But yeah, Joakim Ryan and Jay Bouwmeester. Pietrangelo is hurt. And Edmondson's not in the lineup. What a nerd. Robbie Fabry, also the other healthy scratch. So we'll see how long Pietrangelo's out for. That could be a huge boost for us. The goaltender is Binnington. They have been playing Binnington, which is good. They weren't able to trade Jake Allen, which is not surprising with that contract. So we need to see how long Petro's out for, and we will take it from there and get this series underway. Radil is out until the 19th. Hit the wrong button. That's okay. Pietrangelo is out until the 17th with a concussion, so he's not going to miss a ton of time. It's the 6th. If it's a short series, we're good. If it's a longer series, he might be back early for the last 2 or 3 games, but he won't be at 100%. So I wouldn't expect Alex Pietrangelo to be that big of a factor in this series, which is very, very good news for us. With that said, let's get this show on the road. I mean, you know the team, obviously, from an offensive standpoint. The defense, it's still the same thing. Fight me. It's staying. It's working. We won games. Call it cheesy if you want, and that's fine. Again, I said that this was going to be me, not necessarily with the quote-unquote realistic tabs. It's a more realistic series compared to the UDFAs only, right? But this is just more me playing franchise and seeing what I don't like about it that could result in me having a series similar to the Carolina series from last year, where, yeah, guess what? We had to add a bunch of rules because otherwise it was way too easy. Is this going to be the same? Time will tell. But of course, the point was to start off with a very good team that we had to try and keep at a high level, as, of course, Thornton and Marlowe went, and Burns is going to start regressing. We'll see how it all goes down. For now, our focus is the Cup. Well, let's see if we can get there. It starts here. The journey begins now. Game 1 against St. Louis. Round 1. First period. Let's do this. Not great. Ryan O'Reilly with the opening goal of this game. We outshot them 21-6. Yeah, we are losing 1-0. That is... that's just great, isn't it? That's Martin Jones for you. Second period. Good God. Well, I only had 4 shots that period, so I can't complain too much. David Perron makes it 2-0. 25 shots to 16. We trail by 2 heading into the third period. Our high-powered offense is nowhere to be found as of this moment. Barbashev makes it 3. Can they make it 4 on the power play? They can't. As we are halfway through the third, we do get on the board. Barclay Goodrow. Thank God. We're not going to be shut out. Binnington is human. Could have told you that. 1 minute left, and that's it. 3-1 loss. Not great. Not ideal. Not fun. Not good. Not. Barclay Goodrow gets the only goal of the game for us. A dominant first period. 10 shots to 4 in the second, and 11 to 5 in the third. That just... It seems like our team's spirit was broken at the end of that first period, thanks to us trailing from the O'Reilly goal and Binnington getting the job done. That is an incredibly difficult pill to swallow, as we will go to game 2. Not eager to make changes just yet. Obviously, we have options to make changes if we need to. We'll see what happens here in the second game of this series, and we really do need a win. First period, that's a little bit better. Brent Burns gets the opening goal. Jaden Schwartz was able to tie it just over a minute later. 14 shots to 7, yet we still don't have the lead. Second period is scoreless, 21 shots to 19, and we go to the third. Why waste time? The next goal, oh so important, and we desperately need it, otherwise we will be facing a deficit heading to St. Louis as we waste a power play, and so do they, as it turns out. Evander came with the goal, another successful kill, and with 6.5 minutes left, Derek Pouliot, okay. Tomas Hertl makes it 3-2. Is there going to be another goal? No! Thankfully. Jesus. Evander Kane scores. I don't know if that was shorthanded. Derek Pouliot tied it, but Tomas Hertl gets the winning goal in this game. 3-2 final. I think that's the first time I've ever seen the home team win in a playoff series. If you've been watching on Twitch, you know why. Martin Jones, fair play, solid effort. Hertl, of course, the GWG, and Erik Karlsson, third pair man. Erik Karlsson, what a scrub. 2 assists, because, of course, he got 2 assists, and he's healthy. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So this series is tied at 1 game apiece. We put the pretty poor effort in Game 1 behind us to sneak away with a victory in Game 2, and we head to St. Louis for Games 3 and 4. Now, quickly to take a look here, Martin Jones, let's hope there's a bit more of Game 2 rather than Game 1 in the tank for Martin Jones. The top line has been pretty poor thus far, aside from Kane's goal. In fairness, the second line's not doing great either. Just in general, from a goal-scoring perspective, it hasn't been great. Damn it. I'm gonna trust the team. It's 1-1. We're not messing with the chem yet. Not happening. We're sticking with it. We're gonna trust it, and it's gonna be okay. Game 3 in St. Louis. We need a win here to put the pressure on. I gotta remember, whenever you load it in on 19, it started on all events, and now this year it automatically goes to goals. It's still just instinct to try and change it when I don't have to. First period of Game 3, that is not great. Nick Cousins and Tyler Bozak with the goals, 11 shots to 6. Frustrating stuff thus far. Second period, okay, well, that's more of Game 1 Martin Jones than Game 2, isn't it? Tomas Hertl got us back to within 1. Steen and Perron both score. 4 goals on 21 shots. And we go to the third, down by 3. Make it 4. Martin Jones. What the hell, man. 12 seconds in was that goal for play. The Blues are going to take a 2-1 series lead as Couture gets us within 3 goals yet again after that power play strike. But it is too little too late. Martin Jones does not show up. And we lose again because of it. Very disappointing. We identified him as our biggest question mark and potentially our biggest problem, and thus far, that is proving to be the case. As Erik Karlsson, for the first time, complained about ice time. The first time all year I saw that pop up, and someone will say, well, look at this timestamp from February, and I'll be like, well, shit, I didn't know, but it's fine. We might have to look at making changes here, though. Chemistry be damned. Chemistry be damned. That top pairing, which did so well. The funny thing is, though, I mean, Dylan, Burns, we're doing a little bit better, but yeah, we have to make changes here. Just the goals aren't happening the way we need them to. Goodbye, my beautiful +5s. I'll miss you. I'll miss you. Oh God, but they're so beautiful. Okay. Well, Vlasic and Karlsson. Wow, Vlasic is not happy. Either that or I don't know if that's morale or if he is just outright regressing. But if that's him regressing, Jesus Christ. Are we going to have a bad time later on? Okay, you get to go to the top pairing because we desperately need you to turn it around. Dylan will go with Karlsson, Hutton, and Heed to the third pairing. Offensively, I mean, it's fairly straightforward that Sorensen gets dropped and we probably move Kevin LeBanc. Probably move Kevin LeBanc up. Seems like the best way to do it. Just taking a look at all of our options here. Let's move Brodzinski over. Sorensen will play with Thornton and Brodzinski, which works for me. And then that second line, I still want to break that up. Although Hal Marlowe could be dropped down too. It could be Marlowe and Thornton being swapped. Right, so we go with... That would still be a +3 of Meyer, Couture, Kane, Hurdle, Thornton, LeBanc. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I think those will be the combos here. Fourth line can stay the same. They haven't been that bad. So out of desperation, we'll make changes. But the bottom line is, surprise, surprise, tell me this game isn't realistic. Martin Jones isn't getting the job done in the playoffs. Maybe, just maybe, he'll wake up. If he doesn't and we lose game 4, we are... You can decipher that if you want. I need them YouTube ads at the end of the day. Because God forbid the children hear swearing. Think of the children. Oh, God. First period of game 4. And we do have the lead. Can you... Jake Allen's in, that's why. What happened to Bennington? Evander came with the power play goal. 14 shots to 8. We have a 1-0 lead. Jake Allen is in rather than Jordan Bennington. Could be interesting. Second period, okay, maybe not. Still 25 shots to 19 and a 1-0 lead, but nothing else to go off of as we go to the third in what I would, oh God, call a must-win game. David Perron scores early. Martin Jones, if you botch this, I don't know if I could ever forgive you, Martin. Brent Burns is able to tie this game up as we head towards the death. Are we going to sudden death OT? Yes, we are. Brent Burns' goal with 7:15 left sends us to overtime. We're not going to jump in to watch it. That's going to be reserved, I think, for the finals or elimination games in which this is not. So place your bets now. Who's going to win it and who will have... I mean, granted, I guess there wouldn't be an advantage heading into Game 5 if we win. The Blues would have a chance to end the series if they win this. Marlowe, or I feel like Robert Thomas. Let's do this. Overtime here in Game 4. Power play chance for the Blues is unsuccessful. Can we take advantage in the aftermath week? No. Vladimir Tarasenko gives the Blues a 3-1 series lead. Jake Allen shuts us down. A tremendous season for us, and we are on the verge of elimination. And I don't know what to say to that. Line changes were not all that beneficial for us, it would appear. As unfortunate as that is, we are going to get Hurdle onto that top line. Probably, I guess maybe for Meyer. And that way the two guys were, identified by the game as first liners are where they need to be. Sorensen and Marlowe haven't done a damn thing. Not a damn thing. So because of that, Kevin LeBanc also has nobody scoring. Timo Meyer, no points and a -4. That is a nightmare. I feel safe in saying that. That's a bit of a nightmare. Defensively, it's not looking much better. Okay, so nobody's scoring, and the goaltending's awful. Easy problem to fix when you're down 3-1 in a series, right? My God, there's really nobody that we can look to call up to even try and fix this. We're pretty much condemned, I think, to losing here because so many key members of this team are letting us down right now. We just got to go for it. That's the only thing I can really say. We have to go for it and hope that the team shows up in Game 5. Otherwise, while I don't expect Marleau and Thornton to retire, one of them might. I would expect to get one more year out of each of them, but I mean, if we lose here after this good of a season, there's going to be a lot of question marks heading into this offseason. First period of Game 5, and it's a damn good start. Evander Kane and Patrick Marleau with the goals. I still forgot to check what happened to Binnington. Turns out it wasn't a fluke. Allen's still in. 12 shots to 7, up 2-0 on the board in a must-win game. Second period, and the Blues are back to within 1. David Perron scores again, this time on the power play. 12 more shots, but a 1-goal lead as we head to the third with our season on the line. It is win or stay home, as it turns out. Power play for the Blues goes to waste as we are halfway through the period. We really could use an insurance goal. Not saying I don't trust you, Martin, but I don't really trust you. 2 minutes left. Please hold on. Thank God there's the insurance. Hurdle makes it 3, and the Sharks live to see another day. Screw you, Spielberg. We're not done yet. Patrick Marleau, 2-point night, 20 saves for Martin Jones, and Evander Kane, the first goal of the night. The first of a few, a 3-1 victory in Game 5. Barclay Goodrow is down to a sprained ankle, and that will probably be the catalyst for me making potentially a couple of changes depending on what happens. Sorensen. You want to talk about a disappointment in the playoffs? Marcus Sorensen. Like, you are earning that spot when you look up the term disappointment in a dictionary. Just your face right there. The hell, man. I think we're going to give Alex True a chance because we already have him set up as a grinder. And I mean, Dylan Gambrell probably deserves a chance, or it's Blichfeld. Gambrell or Blichfeld. Or Kelman, for that matter. You know what? Kelman had his moments. Kelman's getting a chance. He had his moments in previous times. Sorensen, I know you have good morale, but I'm going to go ahead and tank that morale because you're botching it, son. You're botching it, and you need to be better. So let's go best lines. See what we're dealing with. Let's get True on the fourth line, so that'll be a +1 there. And we'll play him at center because he was a natural center, if I'm not mistaken. 72, he's the best on those lines anyway. It's weird that Brodzinski, Kelman, LeBanc are a +1. Again, LeBanc has 1 point. Brodzinski with 1 point. Marleau's woken up a little bit. Timo Meier hasn't done much. So I think we're going to go with Meier, Kelman, and LeBanc. We're going to see what they can do. And we'll have two 40-year-olds on the same line. 3 goals for Kane. Oh, God. Well, let's go with something like this. If there are no negatives, beautiful. It's going to be, I think, Hurdle on the left with Marleau and Kane, Thornton, Couture, and Johnny Brodzinski, of all people, on the second line. Because LeBanc and Meier are shit in the bed. It's the only real way to put it. They need to be better. Bernsey, 4 points, 2 goals. Carlson has not done much outside of that first game. Vlasic hasn't been great. Let's go with Hutton and Burns. Dylan and Carlson, I guess, and then Vlasic and Heed. Goaltending, of course, will still be Jones. Special teams, I'm good with leaving that as is. That's fine by me. Let's see if the addition of Kelman in favor of Marcus Sorensen is enough to see this team keep up the momentum. And I know, changing the lines after a win, a little bit of a risk, but I feel like those were necessary risks, right? Come on, Sorensen hasn't done much. So our season comes down to this, yet again, facing elimination for the second time in this series. We need a win in Game 6, or we go home and stay home. First period. We won over 50 games, man. We won over 50 games, and Joel Edmondson and Robert Bortuzzo just scored on us in Game 6. Second period. Oh my God. Well, unless there's a San Jose Vegas-esque call and we can score a shitload of power play goals, our season's over. We go to the third period. Down by 3. Can the Blues make it 4? At least they cannot on that occasion. They have another chance, though, and it's killed off. Power play chance of our own. We're halfway through the third. This season is probably over. Kane scores on Binnington. Vince Dunn gets it right back, and that will do it. LeBanc gets his first of the playoffs, but it's too little, too late. The St. Louis Blues eliminate the best in the West in 6 games. Jake Allen with a tremendous performance, and then Binnington comes back in, so I guess he was never hurt. And they bounce us from the playoffs. Absolutely horrific. Absolutely horrific. 54 wins in the regular season. We get to the playoffs, and we choke. I'm looking at you, Martin. Oh, God. Oh my God, that contract. Oh boy, what are we gonna do about that? What are we gonna do about that? Oh God. Oh no. That's not good. Burnsy was good from an offensive standpoint, but not from a defensive standpoint, which is realistic, I guess. He's now 35. Oh, Jesus Christ. Carlson with 3 points. Dylan, Hutton, Vlasic, and Heed, absolutely nothing. And if Vlasic is legitimately down to an 80, we're so fucked. Oh my God, some of these contracts are looking so much worse, so much sooner than I expected them to. I mean, right there, the point. Logan Couture looked nothing like his real-life counterpart. LeBanc, Thornton. It just wasn't good enough. Timo Meier was invisible. Absolutely invisible. And that is a big part of the reason as to why we lost. The big players didn't show up. The goaltending didn't show up. And we have been bounced in round 1. And that brings us to a very, very interesting offseason where, yeah, there are some moves we could potentially make. I mean, if we can look to shop Martin Jones, we probably should. If we can look to shop Marc-Edouard Vlasic, we probably should. And, whatever we have to give up to make that happen, maybe we look at that. As the Penguins win the Cup in year 1, the Grand Rapids Griffins in the AHL take home the Calder Cup. But the Penguins are Stanley Cup champions, beating the Calgary Flames in 5 games. The Blues lost to Calgary in 7 in the next round. And then down in the AHL, it was the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton Penguins who lost in the finals. So the Penguins almost pulled off the double, which would have been pretty ridiculous. Now, not down in the AHL, but I want to look at what the Penguins... Jeez. Okay. Well, we're not competing with that. Needless to say, the Penguins' big players showed up, huh? My God. My God. That is absolute insanity. And Brandon Tanev, for as bad as that contract is, you are a Stanley Cup champion. Letang was great. Eric Goodbranson, Jack Johnson, and Matt Murray with a 9-10, but it was good enough. The Penguins, Stanley Cup champions. With that roster. Unbelievable. Their 3rd cup in 5 years. Ovechkin wins the Art Ross. Malkin wins the Hart. Brent Burns won the Norris, which means a whole bunch of nothing for us right about now, right? Lady Bing goes to Matt Barzal. Capocacco won the Calder. Conn Smythe to Gino for the 2nd time in his career. Vasilevsky wins the Vezina. And Martin Jones was a part of the Jennings winning tandem. OEL won the Masterton. Denny in Detroit won the Jack Adams. Barkov wins the Selke. Ted Lindsay goes to Evgeny Malkin. And the Rocket Richard to Alex Ovechkin. Down in the AHL, Peter Cehlarik scored the most points. He was also the league MVP. Most goals went to Victor Olofsson. Top rookie was Joe Snively. What was the name of the dude from School of Rock? Was it Schneebly? There we go. Eddie Shore Award went to Eric Brandstrom, top defenseman. Grosnick was the top goaltender and the MVP of the playoffs. I underrated him, apparently. Philip Larson, good enough to win the MVP of the playoffs, the Butterfield. Everyone wants to win the Butterfield. That brings this season to a close. And needless to say, I'm tremendously disappointed that it ended in just one episode. Very, very frustrating. Again, goaltending-wise, I mean, we almost have no choice but to trust Martin Jones because we don't have anybody in the system. Coronar's, he might be a decent backup. Imon is looking okay, but we don't have that big-time project goaltender. We just don't. So ultimately, I don't know what's going to happen there and how we could possibly get a safer bet than Martin Jones. Defensively, I mean, the good thing is we still have very high ratings, but from what I can tell, oh yeah, that's Vlasic. I mean, some is morale, most is morale, but yeah, there's still big trouble in little San Jose when it comes to some of the natural growth from an offensive standpoint from Vlasic, but we might be able to repair that situation. Hayden Fleury was some good improvement, not bad for a waiver pickup. Jeremy Roy, Jeremy Waugh, I'm not sure which it is. Someone will clarify. I should look it up on Elite Prospects, and I probably will, with some improvement. Ryan Merkley's the big one, though, up to a 72. Aside from that, though, we'll see what happens. Right wing's Blichfeld, up to a 74. And then, of course, there isn't much improvement other than that. Timo Meier up to an 87. Really good improvement for him in the system. Good improvement for True, John Leonard, Trushan Viel, and Hamaliuk also improving a bit. And then for centers, again, I mean, Marlowe and Thornton, we'll have to see what happens. I don't expect them to retire, but we'll have decisions to make. And when it comes to the project forwards, I mean, Gambrell, Latunoff, we do have some prospects. But as far as what this roster looks like, I don't know. Because we'll have the potential to try and use the trade finder to get stuff done. Factor in free agency and how much money we're going to have to spend. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough offseason. And money-wise, I don't really know what to expect. Like, Aaron Dell's deal is up. We have $16 million to work with. Dell is not a big concern, but Dillon and Hutton, Heed, their deals are all up. And then Marlowe, Thornton, LeBanc, who's the most important to re-sign. But again, with Kevin LeBanc, he doesn't really fit the coach. I want to keep him, but he's just not a fit. And with the way the AI overspend for RFAs, maybe that would be a smart move. So we'll see what happens. Ultimately, this season ends in disappointment, so I'm glad to know that hasn't changed. It's the same old experience for Sharks fans.